Fantastic. So welcome everybody to Your Desired Success Foundation Mastermind, giving you the secret key to new possibilities. So the rules to living consciously, we believe there are two key rules, and they are the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and the platinum rule of treat others how they want to be treated. And we start every single mastermind around talking about the principles, the power of the mastermindership by Napoleon Hill. It is the principle through which you may borrow and use the education, the experience, the influence, and perhaps the capital of other people in carrying out your own plans in life. It is the principle through which you can accomplish in 1 year more than you could accomplish without it in a lifetime if you depended entirely on your own efforts for success. So we are now going to get into our own mastermind principles to set the foundation of the call with Ryan first.
The purpose of the mastermind is to personally grow, share our value, and connect with like-minded people in order to create new and increased wealth in all areas of our lives.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
We trust fellow attendees enough to share fully.
We ensure we fulfill our commitments. If we agree to do something in this mastermind, we will have it done within the agreed time frame for our own personal growth and the growth of our fellow attendees.
We show integrity by supporting each other and not trying to sell to the other attendees.
We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
Indeed, we do. We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Through masterminding in particular, it gives us the opportunity for self-mastery, where the self-transcendent shift from the me to the we to the us occurs.
As congruence and engagement increases, the world's consciousness is then raised one meaningful and inspired relationship at a time.
Our mission is to help conscious, aware, and engaged heart-centered people achieve their desired success.
Through the tools available within our empowered community and aligned online growth software, our members access a variety of areas, including masterclasses, life purpose software, goal tracking, and masterminds.
You have the opportunity for connection, personal growth, ways to earn from multiple streams of income, and to contribute to the community.
Our focus is to provide an affordable personal development platform to be seen, heard, and achieve a sense of belonging and a path to unlimited new possibilities. So thank you for setting the foundation of the call there. Eva, it's lovely to see you with us.
Thank you. You know what? I got the message twice last week. I wasn't there because I thought, oh my goodness, Wednesday, it's gone. Now he's changed it. Nothing changed. Okay. Well, thank you for letting me know.
You're welcome. And it's an honor and blessing to have you with us. So thank you for coming in. And it looks cold where you are as well.
Yes.
So
definitely cold.
Definitely cold. So we're just checking. We're actually, for some reason, it didn't go live into the group then, but that's okay. So in regards to today's topic around organized planning, when we fail to plan, we plan to fail. So here I'm going to just cover a paragraph to set up the foundation of this call. When you decide to take a road trip, the first thing you do is put your destination into the navigator system. Perhaps you'll consult a map and decide on a route to follow to reach your destination. Having a well-defined plan of how to achieve your goals is just as important as knowing what roads to take on your drive. But just like on a road trip, sometimes you'll take a wrong turn and deviate from the right path. That's why it's important not just to make a plan before you begin, but also to course correct when things go wrong. The sooner you course correct, the faster you will reach your goal. So I mentioned before about something that I realized before this call. And what I've been working on, and this has been it's kind of like been a passion project that's really coming to fruition right now. is that I always saw the possibility of creating a community of people and helping basically platform them to share their value. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I always knew that that was something that I wanted to do. Now, back in 2018 to 2019, maybe pushing to 20, my business partner and I, my best mate and business partner, we invested over $250,000 cash into that vision. We also invested 7 days a week into that vision each and didn't pay ourselves. So, and it didn't work out. Now, in reflection, and I got a lot from that. So it wasn't a failure. It's a failure if I chose to see it as a failure because we didn't get the result we hoped to get. But I know that through the whole process, we never planned anything. Through the whole process, we just winged it. Whatever happened, we adapted to what happened and we carried on moving forward. But we were clear on the vision. And back in 2019, September 2019, so this was probably 3/4 of the way into what I was doing, I got introduced to NG, Noble Goldman. And my business partner said it's a conflict of interest on what we're creating. And I didn't see it as a conflict of interest. I saw it as actually the next step to where we needed to go that we couldn't do. And Mark's ability as a coder to create, we didn't have that. We were doing the best we could with what we had. And we knew that, to be fair, to create something, and especially with the skill set of a coder, we were looking at about $1 million. So when I had a chat with Mark and he told me his vision, our visions aligned. And he didn't have a clear plan step by step, but he was telling me what the process was that he was going to work on and what he needed and the kind of people he needed to help that vision and everything become a reality. And I found myself being pulled. So not pushing myself in, because I still was doing what I was doing on the outside with my business partner, Dave. I find myself being pulled into NG, actually needing it and feeling more grounded. And I remember in May 2020 it was a Tuesday, and I drew a line in the sand that morning and I said, enough's enough. I had just signed a contract to sell off a load of training that I had made, which was always my vision, to sell off this training that I created. And now it was something that I turned around and said, so who am I? What am I here for? What am I going to do now? And the message is clear as day, as if the three of you were just shouting at me, was Noble Goldman. And I went on a mastermind that Tuesday night, and the guy on the mastermind, the facilitator, Declan, said, we need to slow down to speed up. And I literally heard that as if I didn't hear anything else. And I started literally, like, all this stuff started coming out of me, and it was a plan. And part of the plan consisted of me actually finally creating my own website about who I was. And I expressed it out within 3 days, and within 5 days, by the end of the weekend, I had a whole website around me. And some of my friends chose to step in and review it and give me feedback and said, wow, that is such a true representation of how I see you. Not just what you want people to see, how I see you and how I feel from you. So that was kind of like the foundation, and all this stuff's flowing out. But then the plan of where I wanted to go started to unveil. What I wanted to create, Your Desired Success, was born. And then it was like, well, this is going to be more than me. I've got to start it, but it's going to become something that everybody is a part of and is the frontline leader. It's not the Martin Ball show. It's Your Desired Success, not Martin's desired success. So we can all work on that together. And this all started unfolding before I got to it to then try and make a left or right turn, if this makes sense. I was already like a snooker player is 3 steps ahead. They say a snooker player is 3 shots ahead all the time. So this organized planning came in now recently. And when I say recently, this is probably 3 months ago. I sat down with some key members in YDS and we planned out a whole structure and how we were going to move forward. Every single one of us delivered on our part, apart from the person that we needed to go and deliver and create it all, which was Mark. Now, Mark didn't intentionally not deliver. Life got in the way. Other things needed priority. However, the plan hit a roadblock. And for the past month, we've kind of felt lost. We've not known which way to turn, because the plan was that everything was going to work based on the dates that we had said, based on the dates that Mark had given us, that it was all going to flow. And then the next stage, we'd be developing the webinar and the support stuff and so on. And we were lost, like truly lost, like stagnant, didn't know what to do. And we're looking around going, well, we don't even know what this is all going to look like, because we've given the vision to Mark and we've shown him what we want it to look like, but it may be different because of what he can create. Like, we can create this, but what can he create? So one of the biggest things around organized planning was, it is, and this is just my perception, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from you guys and what your experience has been. But my thing has been, be organized, be clear, and and be very clear on the destination, but also be willing to accept that there are going to be unseen roadblocks. There are going to be circumstances that get in your way. And most of the time, and this is just from experience, most of the time, it will happen when you've given your power away, when you've given the expectation for somebody else to deliver and they don't deliver, and it affects your plan. So I'm not saying don't give it away to people, because we need to leverage each other's skills, and we need to give each other the ability to share our skills and be in that space of what it fuels us. Like, for instance, I do not like accounting, but my accountant loves accounting. So I want him to be in his space where he's loving it and he's filling his cup, and I'm filling my cup by not doing it. So this has been a really powerful realization for me, especially literally 5 minutes before I came on the call, around the importance to plan, but the importance to be aware of when we're giving our power away, and that things might not go the way they need to, but then what are we going to do if that's the case? And just as I wrap this up right now, what's been so interesting about it is I realized that because it didn't go to plan, it actually gave me space to rest, to actually take care of myself, to let go of a lot of things, and to learn from the lesson that was happening. Because if it had all worked out, I'd have been vibrating at such a high level of masculine energy of do, succeed, get this working, it has to function, that my physical body could not keep up with, and therefore would have been out of alignment, creating some kind of dis-ease. So that's what I felt like has come up for me and I shared. So I'd love to hear anything that you guys have got to share around organized planning and experience, and let's roll from there.
Okay. Now, unless somebody else wants to go first, I don't want to be pushy, really.
No, you're fine.
Just wanted to say that for many years I taught people how to teach, and one of the things that you tend to teach teachers is to plan their lessons. And for years and years and years, I have always said, plan your lesson as well as you can, and then let go with the flow, because you may end up in a completely different end where your students need to go, not where you had planned you wanted to go, but you need to have a plan. I somehow feel that you need to be prepared and then let go, and not just go with the flow and make a mess, because then it is clear to everybody that you don't really know where you're going. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say, and that has been my probably, yes, way of modus operandi all my life. I would go where people wanted me to go, and for that you need to feel a little bit secure in yourself, because when people are very young teachers, they suddenly feel, out of saddle, or they don't know what to do. So you need to work on yourself, yes. But this giving away power, it's not your power. It's not for you. It's for the students. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you teach. It's important that people learn. Yeah. Okay. I'm done.
No, beautiful, Eva, and thank you for sharing that. It reminded me of something I shared on the other mastermind this morning of what Les Brown said, or what I heard from Les Brown. It's better to be prepared for something that never happens than not be prepared for something that does happen. And that's why I always come to the mastermind with a topic and I'm ready, but I'm also prepared to let go and let the call take its own course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially when dealing with children, I think you've got to be prepared to let go.
But I think with everybody, because people may have some ideas that they want to share, and something more important may emerge, or some kind of deviation of the topic. Yeah. Yeah.
Martin, would I be jumping ahead if I went into the major causes of failure, or are you holding on to that for later in the call?
No, brother, you go for it, mate.
I think for me, so as you know, I've read the book and I've taken notes. And the first note that I have is, it says, no individual has sufficient experience, education, native ability, and knowledge to ensure the accumulation of a great fortune without the cooperation of other people. So you need other people to help you, to plan, to help you act out your plan, and to also just come up with the plan in the first place. But for me, what really stuck out in the organized planning was you can plan all day. You can come up with all the plans in the world, but it's actually actioning those. And the major causes of failure is why a lot of people never put their plan to action. There's so many people that will come up with great ideas, will come up with fantastic, amazing, grand ideas, but they slip up on the major causes of failure. Now, I wrote down the ones that I know I need help with, and I'm being totally transparent and vulnerable. And some of these you may relate with, and others not so much. For me, the major causes of failure that kind of stopped me from moving ahead. So lack of a well-defined purpose. I've been working on that since, I don't know, May of last year, really trying to figure out what it is that my purpose is, because without knowing that, your compass is off. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what direction you need to go in. Procrastination, that has been a huge thing for me. I've always found something else to do other than what I needed to do. But what I'm finding is, because I found my purpose, everything I'm doing is going towards that direction. And therefore, I'm not as open to procrastinating, because I know where I want to go. And I know that I need to do these things in order to get there. So my procrastination level has dropped. Lack of persistence is another one. Just continuing to do it. But again, starting off with my purpose, knowing what my purpose is, my persistence now, I'm constantly doing something every single day, getting 1% better every single day, getting me towards what my purpose is. Lack of a well-defined power to make decisions. I used to be very indecisive. I used to have to ask a bunch of people, hey, what do you think about this? What's your opinion on this? I don't know, going back and forth. Now, because again, it all goes back to my purpose. Now that I know, I do my research, I figure out what it is that I need to do. All right, now I'm making the decision. And that's just for me. There were others definitely in the book, but those are the ones that definitely in the time where I read the book, those definitely spoke to me as my roadblocks for not getting to pursuing the plan that I had made up in my head.
Yeah, great share there, Ryan. Thank you for such in-depth share. You reminded me of, has everybody heard of a guy called Darren Hardy? Darren Hardy. So he's a mentor of mine that I saw I was at one of his private trainings in Miami, and this guy blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind. Darren Hardy. And he actually wrote the book, The Compound Effect, amongst other books. But he said most people in life, they load their gun and they aim, and never fire. So they're ready, or they know where they want to go, but they never take the action to get there. And then they turn around later on in life and say, it just wasn't meant for me. Instead of just doing it, just crossing that line. I'm not saying go around and fire a gun. That is not what I'm saying. but just step over that, draw that line in the sand and step over it and start a new beginning, start something new. Get out of the logical process of the brain trying to protect us, and follow the heart, follow that intuition. And I'm curious to know, Ryan, when you were saying there around like making the decision for yourself instead of like being indecisive and getting the opinions of other people, have you been more connecting with your intuition, or are you still in very much this logically makes sense to me?
For me, again, it points back to knowing what my purpose is. I've always been very sporadic because I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know where my compass was. And I found myself, the analogy that I can use is this, right? So imagine you're a dog on a chain, and the yard that you're in sits right in front of the highway, okay? And while you're attached to that chain, you're just chasing after any car that goes by, right? And you're like, I so badly want this chain to be off so I could just go and run off. But really, that chain represents the time that you have to figure out what your purpose is. Because if you just go chasing any car that passes by, you're not going to get anywhere. You're literally just going to be chasing things for the rest of your life. But while that chain is connected, you actually have time to sit there and process, okay, I see all these cars going by, but what car do I really want to chase? What car do I really want to go after? And when that chain is finally cut, you won't have to worry about going all over the place. You're like, that's the car I want, and that's the car that I'm going to chase, and that's the direction I'm going to go.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. And as I said there, dog, only chase the ice cream van. Thanks for sharing, brother. I appreciate that. Yanni.
For me, it's amazing how you explained that if it wouldn't that happen, you would have, I think your mind would have actually expanded, right, in a way that you needed to find that I guess decelerate in the way you were growing, but what I don't know, what I've been learning is that we always need to plan, but not being attached to the outcome, because it's a way of blocking yourself as well, and being able to be flexible to other possibilities, because you have that vision, but it's like Eva was saying, that you are in a service platform, where you want to bring the best of you to others, but as well, it's a contribution of all of us, even from the teachers to the learners, so in every stage of life, I think it's just a lesson for all of us, right? Every time we make a turn. So I don't know, for me, it was just interesting that you took it that way, and it's a way of actually going for you to where you want to go, as you like like a friend, I had a friend that was saying, I just went from the time I got my vision where I wanted to go, I just grew, you know, and he kind of burned out because he just knew what he wanted, but not where he wanted to go. So I guess, you know, rethinking your strategy in a way that, like it says, no follower of this philosophy can reasonably expect to accumulate fortune without experiencing temporary defeat. When defeat comes, accept it as a sign that your plans are not sound, rebuild those plans, and set sail once more towards your covered goal. If you give up before your goal has been reached, then you're a quitter. A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits. So I see you like that. I never, I don't see you as a quitter. You know, it's just as always readjusting yourself to what it's needed. So
Yes.
Yeah, great share, Yanni, and great observation as well. And that's it exactly. When we look at the book, and just see your work, Kevin, we're talking about Think and Grow Rich on organized planning.
We got that this week, Coralie and I.
Good work. Great book. Great book. And when we look at that, there's so many times, and especially even in the movie that I know Kevin and Coralie, his wife, watched, that's in the YDS group, the everything about that. And when you listen to every single person who speaks, they all say they were met with defeat. They were met with, and they pushed through, and they managed to keep going because they were so clear on where they wanted to go, but they never saw it as defeat. They saw it as a great way. Thomas A. Edison, around the fact that, you know, I think in an audio that I've listened to of Napoleon Hill, he says that when he's interviewing Thomas A. Edison.
I couldn't quite hear you. Could you please repeat what you said?
Siri picked up on my lisp. So
I seem to be having trouble hearing you.
do you want to just?
Sorry about that.
I think it's on my iPad.
No, it's just
Oh, it's on my phone. It's on my phone. Sorry. So be quiet, Siri. Thank you though, but be quiet. So the Napoleon had said that when he was interviewing Thomas A. Edison had said to him that if he hadn't found the how to actually create the light bulb, then he wouldn't be wasting his time talking to Napoleon. The reason why which was a bit of a joke. He said, because I would have kept going. I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways of not creating the light bulb. And really interesting when you hear that and go, wow, most people would say, oh, he failed 10,000 times. No, he just found 10,000 ways you don't do it, or that didn't give him the result that he wanted. And it's so, I think it's so powerful in regards to not only the way that we think, but also the way that we communicate it. And that's why with what you shared there, Yanni, from the book, it really does emphasize the message that we need to hear. And on those days, accept, like there's this you know, me being transparent. Wednesday, what day were on Thursday? Yeah, yesterday I was it yesterday, babe? Or no, the day before that I wasn't very good. Tuesday, and just being totally transparent with you, Tuesday, I did not think that I was still going to be here in this life. Like I was so low, did not see any point in me being here, was questioning if I was of any value to anybody. I was just
Martin.
No, seriously,
So-
Eva. But I couldn't understand it because it was just this extremely heavy energy. And no matter what I tried, and I've been down that road of depression and suicide, as many of you know. But I couldn't put my finger on this. And I literally couldn't. The only thing that I wanted to do was just go to sleep to wake up the next day, because I just couldn't logically process it. And I knew that it was just, I had to go through it for a reason. And I woke up on the yesterday morning, and it was as if I'd never gone through it. I was feeling fantastic. I was ready to go. I had clarity. I had direction. I was motivated. But that Tuesday, I was walking, Beth and I were in York, this old town where we've come to, and everything about me was just flat. And I love being in nature. I love seeing new things. And I had nothing. So thank you, Carly. Very kind of you. But at the same time, there's beauty in that, because it helps me appreciate when I am awake. Let's just say awake. I am moving forward. I am focused. I have got direction, and I think because for me personally, and I'll just wrap this up. I'm all or nothing. I'm never really in the middle. I'm never in what they class as the gray. So when I'm in the zone, I'm in the zone. And I think that I just needed to appreciate by coming right back over and go, hey, you've actually taken this time off. As I said, the plan didn't go accordingly, and I've taken some downtime, and I've really enjoyed that, like what I would class as the middle space, the balance, and serving myself. But I went like that, straight full bore, and I had to come back over to flat to go, hey, remember what it felt like in the center? We want you more around that, because you were more serving yourself, and therefore you can serve more and achieve more and stay in a line and on course with your vision and mission and desire, burning desire. So that came up, Yanni, through you sharing that. So thank you. Thank you for sharing.
No, it's amazing. I think you just let the emotions go through you, and not, like, it had to come out somehow, and I think eventually you're like, this too shall pass,
Exactly. If it happens again, Martin, you will remember that you just need to go to bed and sleep, and next day. No, seriously, there are days like that. We all go through ups and downs. We are human. Oh, what a lovely person has arrived here. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, little person. Hello.
Yes,
Funny
thank
you
you.
should say that, Martin. On Tuesday, Melbourne Cup Day, that was quite good. I was busy doing my work, and I never miss a Melbourne Cup because I have family history with the Melbourne Cup. And so I always watch it, pick the winner. Everything was going great. I said to the family, I'll go get pizza. So we went and got pizza with me winnings. It was all good. But then later that evening, I thought, I better check my emails. And I had a couple of emails there, and one of them really just sent me on a spiral. I went to bed that night. I was angry. I was furious about this particular email I got from a client and about someone else. And but they were implicating me. And I went to bed. It was about, I don't know, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning by the time I got to bed. But I couldn't sleep because it was on my mind. And I woke up yesterday on Wednesday, and the whole day was pretty much a dead duck. I had headaches. I had sore tummy. I was blaming the pizza. But what it was I go back to that email. And it wasn't until this morning when I spoke to the general manager of my client that he turned around and said, no worries. I've told this person where they stand. He won't be around in 2 weeks. You will be. And it was like I was heard, but it was like for a whole 48 hours there must have been something in the universe for something to have affected you, to affect me 5,000 kilometers away. The same sort of thing. I just went, what's the point? Why should I carry on doing what I'm doing? And, to the point where I was popping Panadol every 5 minutes, to get rid of my headache because I was stressed. And, but then, you sit back and you take account of what that whole thing was. And I'm not saying there was a right or a wrong, but I was vindicated. And then I just felt a lot better. And today, well, yeah, I'm just a lot more relaxed. But yeah, it must have been something in the universe, the Octoberphobe thing that Mark keeps talking about, that happened in the last 48 hours.
Yes, I experienced a lockdown day yesterday as well, which doesn't, I usually don't allow myself to to go down, but I didn't do any work. I didn't do anything constructive. It was just so it must have been something more than affected more people.
Did we all have a bad day yesterday? Because I was feeling some type of way too.
Well, it's really interesting that and thank you for sharing the Kevin. And I'm really upset that you didn't have your purple wig on. I genuinely thought you'd come on with your purple wig. But I think it really sets it so beautifully in regards to what we're talking to now bring Carly in, because Carly is so connected with the divine intelligence and energy that I'd be really curious to hear, not only from that aspect, Carly, but also in relation to the topic of organized planning, if you're willing to share.
I feel like you've just put pressure on me to express something that I have no idea what to express right now.
There's no expectation.
Ask me the question again so I can share in clearness.
So has there been a lull in energy around the world that's been taking place over the last the last few days, or so that you're aware of?
I am not aware because I didn't experience what you guys are experiencing. But to me, if you all experience it, then there is. Because we're not alone, we're all one. Because yesterday I was so busy with my productivity and my organized planning that I didn't have time to worry about the rest of the world's changing energy. I was in my container, my circle. In fact, I was doing a few of those yesterday and fully aligned with what I was focused on. So because I was focused on me and my desire, destiny and passion and purpose, like Ryan's talking about, I didn't have my energy scattered, I guess, is what I'm saying, because those energy circles, Martin, is basically your aura, your container. We are an individual container, each one of us. We are connected, but we are unique in our energy. When we're fully contained in our energy, fully personally not blobbing into anyone else's, we can then be aligned to our truth, our full sovereignty. And then the rest of the world, yes, we may notice things, but it's not fully affecting us. We're too focused in the super consciousness.
Yes, but there are days when we don't allow something that happens, something that takes us off the course to affect us. Anyway, that's, and I usually manage. And yesterday something happened in the morning and it just threw me off. So
yeah, and it's perfect because no matter what day it is, because I could be thrown off tomorrow, hopefully not. And if I am, I bring it home to me and I contain my energy like Martin did. I take myself for a walk, I check in, I get aligned. I actually do some energy work on myself because I'm into clearing my chakras. And if I can't do that, I phone a friend. So Martin, please reach out next time if you need it. And so basically because I've done this for 10 years, so I'm always daily working. If it's not on me, it's on someone else. Like people think I'm always giving my time to everyone, but I'm just helping the evolution of the entire human race, no matter whether I'm working on me daily or someone else and me or someone else. Like it's all one, we're all one. So you guys all felt each other. I was in my own thing, because I'm always working on it, I didn't really pay attention to what the rest of the world's doing. Didn't watch the news.
No, I don't do that.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just saying, I tomorrow could have a different experience. And I could be blobbing into the matrix, but I choose not to. And that's a bit of a organized planning on my part, where you got to practice daily to not do that, or get back out of it if you have. But if you're going through a process, Martin, then if there's other people going through that, you know, we can support each other. That's what we're here for. So
I think you were feeling, because I think most of the time from the new moon, which is literally tomorrow, I think it was that your energy was low, plus the new moon, it's a low energy charge. So I think it just collapsed, you know. I think that's why almost when you feel that a little type of negativity with the cycle of the moon, it does affect you. And if it's a collaboration of people, I think it's when it's felt more. So that's always what I've been learning when Mark's Leaders calls, when he tells us, you know, to be kind to yourself and others, and it's every single month. If you notice, when it's a new moon, it's a low energy with a lot of people, and any little thing can trigger it. So I think that's what happened collaborative. And it's funny because most of the people, when they're low, for me, it's when I snap out of it, you know. and I'm more focused on what I on the positive. That's why I understand that an attitude of gratitude, you know, because any little positive things can actually influence to the other level, but any little things can actually derail you as well. So I think that's what it's mostly for the moon cycle energy, I believe.
It's a really good point, that, Yanni. And I was told a while back I was born on a new moon, and therefore on the first 4 days of a new moon, I should actually do nothing, relax, just let energy come in. So it's interesting you mentioning that, based on the coming to the end of the moon. It's time for me to accept, like, there's obviously a lot that energy. And I know Mark had said, like, October is always a challenging month. For the past 4 years, he's noticed every year the October's just been the most challenging month in NG. And because of my energy's been so heavily invested into NJ, in particular in regards to creating all the support and the structure we've had endless conversations, and I've just gone into full red personality, got to get this created, got to help more people know this. And Mark saying October's the challenging month, and I'm like, I'm going to create this, and I'm just fighting, and all of a sudden I go bang, and the universe goes, mate, you're not hearing us, and all these people around you are telling you. I'm just going to punch you square in the face. And I copped for it on Tuesday. And yeah, fortunately, I like Les Brown says, if you can see up, you can get up. And I was able to see up. I got up on Wednesday and was moving forward. But everything that's being shared today, thank you. Truly thank you, because it all resonates. Carly.
I see Carly's got a hand up. I'll just quickly say, if you're not aware, here in New Zealand, the Australians will know, we're known as the Shaky Isles, right? Because like we can have 5 or 6 earthquakes a day, and it's like blah. But when we have a new moon, or a full moon, I'll often go outside and go, oh, okay. And if there's no wind, you go, oh, okay. And a friend of ours moved back from Australia about 6 months ago, and she came around for a few drinks, and it ended up us out on the deck, and it was a beautiful night, full moon. And I just looked up and I went, oh, good earthquake weather. And she went, what? And literally the next day she posted on Facebook, Kevin, you're an oracle, because the next morning we had a 6.4 earthquake here in Wellington. And but the thing is, when it's such a still night and we've got that full moon, the energy being drawn does affect the fault lines. And if it can affect the fault lines, what's that doing to our minds?
Yeah.
You know, and I say that because it's quite still out there tonight, and I hope we don't get an earthquake tomorrow.
It's funny
Sorry.
you say that, because, you know, when it's still like that, I just see it as amazing peace, the grace of peace. And then you've got the belief, or, you know, the understanding that it's actually more than that. You've got this other angle to it. But I would actually go out and just appreciate peace. Like me personally, when I'm out in that kind of stillness, I'm just in awe of peace. And so my job on the earth when I was doing my angel work for about 8 years was as a peace angel. We traveled the world doing peace performances. So whenever it's still like that, I've just got this full appreciation for peace. Like I just breathe it in and I'm just one with the universe and I'm just in awe of it. Like incredible to see it like that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the
the
same with
great
the
thi-
ocean. When the ocean's totally flat and I'm just in awe of the stillness and the sun shining on the ocean, just like sparkly gold in its total stillness though. Like it's incredible. That's why I'm always doing photos of Mother Nature.
Acceptance of what is. I feel that is.
Yeah, well, I hear what you're saying, Carly, because here in I'm in Wellington, so it's a city, and you know you can go outside and you can see some of the stars, but only like an hour and a half away in an area called the Wairarapa. It's almost a dark light reserve thing, and you can literally sit there and you can totally see the whole universe, and you can actually see the glow of Wellington lights over the hills. But because there's absolutely no light pollution in this area, you can actually see so much more. And you think, wow, I'm only an hour away and I don't even see half of what I'm looking at right now. I mean, and you just sit back with a bottle of nice Shiraz and just enjoy it.
Yeah, I guess I'm saying about that because, you know, our mindset is that powerful, right? And everyone knows it is, but when we're adding extra thoughts to what we're doing, like I remember there was this gentleman that had been drinking and it was recently, and I was judging him because it was in the middle of the day and he was sort of walking across the road a bit dangerously. And I had this mindset of judgment, like, what a fool. I may have thought some other words in there. And and while I was thinking it, he would have been 15 meters at least away from me. And the only person he looked at was me. As soon as I thought it, he turned his head, looked straight directly at me and almost pierced me with his eyeballs, as if to say, don't think that about me. And I'm like,
But you don't know what I'm going through right now.
And it's not once it's happened. It's happened before when I've seen some other foolish human being and I've thought it. So it's not like it's a one-off. Like our mind is that powerful. The energy went telepathy across to this poor man. And honestly, it put me into my heart straight away because he knew I was thinking of him. He may not have known exactly what I was thinking, but he knew because he looked at me and went,
felt it.
Yeah, with anger and like he really gave me the what to with his face expression. Don't you think that about me?
I think that actually amplifies what the topic is today around organized planning, because we all plan to come from a place of a higher conscious, to come from a place of love to other human beings, and yet there's certain things that happen in day-to-day life that just challenge us on that and make us be aware of how we're choosing to act. And these, if you will, these little roadblocks or these opportunities to have turn left or turn right or even go straight on. And that example right there, because I'm sure we're all guilty, like not as in negatively, but we're all guilty of thinking like that. And I love, and this isn't to pick on you here, Carly, in any way, shape or form.
Oh,
but,
no, I was aware that I had to come back into my heart very quickly.
Yeah.
There would be a conflict. He could have easily walked my way, created a conflict. Easily could have said something.
And absolutely, but the where I was going to touch on there is that people aren't, and we often say this, and it's through a reaction, I believe. Because when Bob Proctor asked a group of school children, what's the difference between reacting and responding, a 15-year-old girl said, reacting is a habit, to respond is to think. And we react and go, that person's stupid, or that person's an idiot. But what they're actually showing is what we perceive from a judgment angle of an idiotic behavior.
Yeah.
It's not that they're an idiot, it's just
Exactly.
what we class as a behavior is idiotic. And And I know, when you said about that, I remember coming off a boat party at round about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, absolutely hammered, carrying an esky in the middle of the main, like, it wasn't the freeway, but it's like the highway, dancing around. And because I was so happy, people stopped and they were laughing in their cars to not run me over. But it was because my energy was so high. I think that although they had to stop, and they probably did go, look at this idiot, but they picked up on my energy and they couldn't help but laugh at how silly I was being. And I remember my girlfriend at the time saying, you had everyone in stitches there. The next day I didn't remember it, but and I had to be told about it. I think she showed me a video of me dancing in the middle of the bloody road, but it brought joy. But at the same time, I chose what I would class as an idiotic behavior because I put myself at risk, but it humored me and it humored them.
Yeah. So in all that, there's an energy. In all that, there's an energy. So with me and the person, I could have created a conflict where he got very annoyed in his state of mental style and come across, because his face showed the behavior that he was going to come and headbutt me if I had thought any more, basically. So what I'm saying in that is there's this energy of conflict of some kind. It's either a joyful energy, a conflict of anger, frustration, whatever. Well, that's a ripple that's already out in the universe. And then more people show up with whatever that emotion is. Like you said, the group of other people were in joy as well. There could have been more people show up with anger as a mirror. You know what I mean? Like it creates. So whatever we're speaking of in the case of earthquake, like other people would have been thinking that as well, because it's a ripple thought. It goes out to other people and we're all powerful. Mother Nature hears what we want. And a fear-based fear around earthquakes is a huge energy.
Oh, it's nothing.
No, but if there's a lot of people afraid of that, that would be a big energy.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, it's that time of year again, and I mean, we've got special government earthquake commission, and they put adverts on the TV saying, remember to drop, roll, hide under a desk, all the earthquake stuff you learn. Like, I suppose if you think back to the 1960s and the Americans about nuclear war, all the kids learning how to protect themselves from a bomb by jumping under a desk, not going to help. But the thing is, I see these ads and they come on just periodically. And I always sit there and go, what do they know that we don't? Because you can guarantee that, as I said, we do get earthquakes every day here in Wellington. Some you don't feel, some, I mean, we just had one the other day, and it was just before I came on to a call, and I was sitting here and I just noticed the TV starting to shake. I went, oh, that's a big earth one. And it was 5.4. To you guys in Australia, that would be like, oh, end of the world, front page news. For us, it's like, But the thing is, then you'd have something like what happened in Christchurch 10 years ago. It completely wiped out a city, a major city here in New Zealand. And, it wiped out the new national stadium, or the national stadium down there. It literally, the wonderful cathedral collapsed live on television, and stuff like that. That was in Christchurch, yeah. And so, and I've got family down there and friends, and their houses got just smashed. And but here in Wellington, apparently we're 100 years out of time for the big earthquake. Like, we're all sitting here going, is this now the big one? Because apparently we're overdue for the big one, and it will just completely destroy Wellington when it hits. Because where I'm sitting now, I'm about 500 meters from the main fault line. There can be an earthquake and I won't feel it, or there could be an earthquake in Auckland and I will feel it. It's amazing how the tentacles spread. And but what always gets me is how we see these adverts on TV, and I can guarantee you that in the next 5 to 7 days, there will be an earthquake here in New Zealand of a magnitude 5 or higher. And that's what makes you think, what do they know that we don't? And is it all to do with the moon? I still believe it does.
I know that we've come to the hour mark, but Yanni, you were unmuted. Was there something you wanted to share?
Oh, no.
Okay. So, but that goes back to, once again, organized planning. Of they're planning, they're doing the best they can, but when you look at Mother Nature, we have to let go. And Mother Nature always does her best to correct any form of imbalance. And it's amazing to watch it happen. And I think especially when we masterminded around the universal laws for several weeks, and it was so powerful to not only receive that information from Raymond Hollywell and Bob Proctor, but then to also communicate it as a group with what we received individually, and then understand, or to a level we understood, that Mother Nature always does. There's always a level of balance. So if somebody we perceive is doing what we perceive as the wrong thing and getting ahead in life, Mother Nature will come at some point and bring it back. And one of the beautiful areas of this is the universal law of giving. When we choose to truly connect with the universal law of giving, not from a place of I'm going to give here because I want this back, but from a place of I want to activate this universal law. And I know that whatever the universe wants to give me, she will give me, or it will give me, however you want to word it. But I know that I want to do this, and I'm doing it wholeheartedly, consciously, just because I love to do it. It's amazing to look at what happens around, even from a place of, and it's often not where we expect it to be. And this is why most people miss the beauty, even from an angle of the 6 of us here on this call right now. So think of the power of that. Even though it would be maybe, and I'm just using this as an example, for most people, it's that they want to get ahead in regards to money, but they often don't see the relationships that are happening around them, or things improving. And if I use this as an example, or rather leverage this as an example, if my focus was on the money, then the 6 of us on this call right here and now, I am learning to communicate better in regards to listening and speaking. I am hearing you all and learning from your experiences in life. I'm learning new things, which means I'm able to connect with more people. I'm able to add more value into other people's lives, which could end up becoming some form of income stream, depending on where I go and what I choose to do. So it's really interesting to see how it's always happening perfectly and in divine timing when we choose to let go of any form of results, but we planning according to what we aim to desire and let go along the journey. That's really what I've been picking up and receiving from what's being shared, and especially with, you know, how you said about it before, Kevin, how I felt on Tuesday. And this is where it's really powerful to be able to reflect back and step into that energetic space just from an angle of feeling, and then remove myself to how I feel right now. It's amazing. And it gives you 100% faith that it is only a temporary experience. Something else is coming.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. And you also learn how to, when that experience happens again, you know, you go, right, what actually happened that time? Did my brain overreact to that whole thing and worry too much about it? Because I knew, one, I was right, but the part of me was still going, oh, am I in trouble here? You know, when you've got to start believing in yourself, I suppose. Ooh, words of wisdom, 11:30 at night. But you know what I mean? It's sort of like, you know, it is, yeah, next time this happens, it will be like, okay, what happened then? Oh, this is what happened a couple of months ago. Okay, we'll roll with it, but I'm sure it'll be all fine when I wake up tomorrow. Yeah.
And Mark shared something as we wrap this up now, and I was so amazed by what he said about something today. When people communicate with him, he goes straight over to the self-energetic perception chart and figures out where they're communicating from. Is it a low vibration in the me? Are they in the we to the middle, or are they in the transcendent shift of the us? And it really helped me see things from a different perspective, because we never know where somebody's at based on the way they communicate. Like as in, especially if it's on paper, you're never going to pick that up. But you go, hang on a minute. If you know the person, you'll be able to go, something doesn't seem quite right here. But sometimes it's like we receive it based on where they're at energetically. And I know that's why I said I wanted to go to bed on Tuesday, because I was not adding any value to Beth, to myself. I just needed to get out of that energetic space. I didn't feel safe in it. And I knew that if I went to sleep, I would be able to shift through, and it was probably what I needed. And that to me is where I said to Beth on the way back just before the call, we do a personality thing just as an overview. It's not in concrete, but it's like to find out which color people are more predominantly based on a series of questions. And I said to Beth, I'm equal on red and blue. They're the highest two for me. Now, red is like all out, focused, like get out of my way kind of thing. But I'm equal on blue. And I said to her, I said, the way that I've been over the last several days, I've been very much the red. So I'm going this way, get out of my way. I need to get this done. I haven't got time for anything else. So if I jump on a call and I bring that energy onto the call, people who are maybe a yellow and really relaxed and calm and talking about spirituality, I will come across as, and excuse me for this, as a bit of a dick. Like that's how I'll come across. But that isn't me. It's just the energetic state that I'm in and space that I'm in and what I'm delivering. And I haven't energetically stepped out of it. But I know that there's people who refer to me as a yellow and say, Martin, he's so beautiful. And they used to define, my business partner I mentioned before, Dave and I, they used to say, if you want to speak direct about business and get a direct answer, you go to Dave. If you want to be cuddled, you go to Martin, because Martin will cuddle you and love you, and he's just amazing. But I've also realized that when I was in that space, I relied on Dave to be the one who was driving and going forward. And I could be the person, but once we separated and he went back to the UK and we haven't fallen out, but he just went on to do something else. I needed to step into that space, and he had given me let's say the mentorship to understand what I needed to do. And when I stepped into that, a guy that I admire, he's just an incredible man. He turned around to me and just from my Facebook posts said, something's happened, but the one thing that I can say to you is, he said, I don't need to know what it is, but the one thing I can say to you is, you finally stepped into your true power. You are so aligned and balanced where you can shift from where you need to be as like a feminine energy into a masculine energy, and you can actually bridge the gap. He said, it's so powerful to see because, and I said, well, actually, Dave's gone back to the UK, and he said, finally, that's happened for you, and you will now step into that space. And I did. But I needed him to get out the way. I needed him to go. I was upset about it when he left, but I needed him to go for me to become. So
Like perfect timing.
Sorry. Yes.
It's always
Yes,
at the
yeah.
perfect time.
Let go, trust Mother Nature. So everybody, thank you so much. Yeah, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for choosing to be here and share. Within 20 minutes, we're going to be doing the leadership call for Gold Star and Vault members in NG. Ryan, I'm sorry we didn't get to talk about grit, but we can bring that to the call next week if you want, bro. That's cool. But
Well,
thank
I
you.
will not be here next week.
Oh,
But
okay.
That's okay.
That's
That's
okay.
okay. What was meant to be talked about got talked about.
Yeah, cool. So next Thursday, same time, we'll be back here. And I look forward to learning more from you all. Go and have yourselves a tremendous day, evening, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully it's a calm one, Kevin. And I will speak to you all very soon.
Okay.
See
Bye-bye.
you.